Let's continue with the second chapter from your political science book, and the name of the chapter is Unitary and Federal States. In our previous video, we have understood what is the meaning of the unitary form of state and what is the meaning of federal form of state. What are its general features? We took up example of UK and we have understood till this much. So today we are going to start with a point where we are finding recent trends towards unitary federalism. So many of the theorists have observed that growing trend towards centralization or unitary in all federations. Though the countries are having federal form of government, then also nowadays we can find that it is having a trend of growing a centralized government. Why in all major federations including America, India, Swiss, Canada, Australia, federalism, the central government have become very strong and are still becoming stronger. Okay, you can say there is a trend. Now this trend is going on. Trend towards centralism has been a distinct trend of contemporary federal constitutionalism. Okay, several political scientists describe it is a natural development. Okay, the history of evolution of state trends to justify it. Yet history tells us that states move from alliance to confederence, uh, from confederence to federation, from federation towards complete union, that is lower to higher forms. Okay, first they are making an alliance, from alliance to confederation, from confederation to federation, and from federation they are going to unitary form of government. This is what they are generally analyzed, that if a state is developing, this is the general trend which is being followed. UK is the unitary state with strong local governments, and the USA and India are unitary federalism. I told you already what is the meaning of that. Quasi federal, we can say this is the appropriate term I feel like you must be using for India. Quasi federal. What is the reason behind this growing power of the central government? Because central jurisdiction over must over most important subjects. So central government, I'll tell you what is the welfare of the state, which decisions are going to be taken for the welfare of the entire nation. This is also in the hands of the central government. Second, what kind of international relation or international trade or you can say international commerce matter is also in the hands of the central government. Not only that, you can say the military. Okay, you can say the military aspect, the boundary aspects, all these are in the hands of the central government. And one more thing is there in the central government, that is residual power. What is the meaning of residual power? Residual power means central government has the power to change the boundary of the state, change the boundary of a particular state, and change its name also if the central government feels like. Okay, so that is residual power, that is in India, that is also vested in the hands of the central government. Okay, so you can say that there is many other things like transport, communication. Okay, all these things are in the hands of the central government, and central government is a financial hub, you can say, or the resource. So whatever national income is done, or as much expenditure the nation is doing, all these things, all the budget is also being done by the central government. So you can understand that there is a trend, that why there is a shift towards a unitary form of government, or why the central government is so very powerful, because our constitution have provided it so much of power. Okay, next, in federal state we are having an you can say case study kind of, that is USA. We are going to study about USA. USA is having division of power. Okay, USA is having division of power, as it is a federal state, it is having division of power. Again, the division of power has been made between the federal and the states. The power of the federal government has been specifically laid down to the constitution. Okay, USA is having a written constitution. Basically, we have assumed that a federal state is having a written constitution, and written constitutions are rigid by its own nature. Okay. Powers and subjects vested in the states, the powers not vested in the federal government and not prohibited by the states. So in USA, you can say the residual power resides in the hands of the states. The states themselves can change their boundary and change their name. Okay, this cannot be done by the central government, but in India, this is just the opposite one. Okay, federal government is there, and there are few powers and subjects which are again divided between them. For example, Article 1, Section 9, what are they saying? Prohibits the federal government. The federal government cannot suspend the writs, okay, and they cannot apply anything they feel like on the states. They have to come in a mutual discussion, and then only they can apply it. Okay, then you can say USA is having dual administration. Dual administration itself means that they are going to have two governments, okay, one in the center and the other in the state, and they can have more than two also. They are having written constitution, as I told you, it's a rigid constitution. They're having, you can say, independent judiciary. In federal system always there have to be independent judiciary, because there is lots of power sharing between the central and the state. If there is no independent judiciary, then the power sharing will not be done properly and no decision will be taken adequately. For that, this power sharing is very much essential, and independent judiciary is needed to watch this power sharing carefully. Then we are having bicameral Congress. Bicameral Congress means their parliament. They're calling their parliament as Congress. I'm telling from the first video, right? They're having bicameral, so they're having House of Representatives, and the other is the Senate. Senate is the upper house. Okay, it acts exactly like our Rajya Sabha. And next they are saying that dual judicial system. Dual judicial system means Supreme Court, like a Supreme Court will be there in the center, and then in the district courts or the state courts will be there. Two system, dual judicial system they are having. Okay. Next they are saying about the dual citizenship. You must know about this. Dual citizenship means where every citizen is having two I cards. We are having only single I card where it is showed that we belong to which local area and we belong to India, right? We all are Indians, and to which local area we belong, it's mentioned in our single I card. But in USA they are having two I cards. One, first of all, you are the citizenship, getting the citizenship of USA, and second, that will be reflecting which local area that person belongs to. Okay. In next, you can see in next page there is an India's concept about Indian federal setup. India is a mixture of unitary and federal. From the beginning I am trying to explain you that India is a quasi-federal. Please use this term in your paper. It's a quasi-federal. Article 1 simply declares India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of state. This means that India is neither a federal nor a unitary state, in both federal as well as unitary. Okay, first they are trying to explain us that in Constitution Article 1 it is saying India, that is Bharat, shall be union of states. That means India as a nation is having many states, and it is the states are uniting together and forming this state. Okay, so we are having a we are having a unity. We are having unity in among so many states, and still our country is existing with a single, you can say, constitution. So let us understand few of your federal characteristics of the uh, Indian state. Power division is there. There must be power division in a federal state, so India is having power division. Next, we are having dual polity. Dual polity means there are two kind of government. One is the central government. We are having the state government. Then we are having the local governments also. So we are having three-tier government system here. Okay, next we're having, as you know, if it is a federal, then it will have a written constitution. So India is having a written constitution. Again, India is having a rigid constitution. So let me be very clear in this point that India's constitution is not fully rigid, not fully flexible. We are having partially rigid and partially flexible, but basically we have assumed that written constitutions are rigid by its nature, but India is having both the factors. Constitution is the supreme law of land. This means whatever written in the constitution, that has to be followed by both the governments in order to maintain a smooth dealing. Okay, this is mentioned in our constitution. Special role of Supreme Court. Here special role of Supreme Court means if any law is done or amended or adapted by our legislature, and the Supreme Court finds that it is disrupting the you can say the provisions of constitution, it is creating any kind of problem, it's unconstitutional by nature, then the Supreme Court has a power to reject it. Okay, then bicameral union parliament. As you know, our parliament is having two houses. One is the Lok Sabha, another is the Rajya Sabha, right? So that's why they're calling bicameral. From day one, I'm trying to explain you bicameral. Bicameral means two. Bi means two. Cameral here means house. Okay, two houses are there in the parliament. Okay, next is what points are there which makes India quasi-federal. That means few points are there in Indian policy where unitary features are also adapted. What kind of things are those? Like for example, presence of strong central government. Whenever there is a discussion between the states and the central government, we know that there are three kind of list: union list, concurrent list, and state list. So if some matter is there in an unitary or union list, the union government or the central government will take the decision, and whenever the matter is in state government's list, the state will take its own decision, and the concurrent list, both of them have to be discussed and mutually they have to decide something in the concurrent list. But we can say that if a central or the union government finds there is some matter in residing under state list, the union government can take decision regarding that also. A provision is made like that also, but that is during the emergency. But it can take the decision in the state list also, and in concurrent list always it is always the union government which takes the ultimate decision. Okay, the central, you can say the center can reorganize the state and change their boundaries. This means the residual power they're talking about is a residual power which is vested in the hands of the central government. But in USA, this residual power is vested in the hands of the states. Okay, during the emergency, as I was telling you, during emergency, the central government can take the decision on the behalf of the states. Okay, next we are having single constitution for the center and the state. There is no different constitution. Like before, we were having a constitution in India and a separate constitution for Jammu and Kashmir, which got rejected very recently, right? So we are having single constitution and we are having single uniform citizenship. We are not having dual citizenship. We are again having an you can say independent integrated judiciary system. The same reason as I told in USA, because in order to run the country smoothly, we need this independent judiciary system. Otherwise, the power sharing will not be proper. Okay, and the financial superiority is also there in the center, and common you can say that all common all India services, common election commission, all these things are residing or dealing with the central government only. There is only one election commission, common election commission. There is all India service. All these things are which are very vital bureaucrat, you can say organize, or the institutions, all these are dealing with the central government only in India. So while concluding, I would like to say you that in Indian constitution, article 1 is saying India, that is Bharat, a union of states. Union means where all the states, many states together, they are united and staying together. But India is, again I am repeating, a quasi-federal state. Do not forget this.